If it's something that's monetary, then the first thing is you need to go to the Beit Din. And you have to bring it to the Beit Din, to some strong rabbis. Before you go to the goyim, to the authorities, you have to go and try to get some rabbinical help. But if it's a situation where the guy is a murderer or a rapist and he's harming other people, then there's no delay. You have to go to the police. And don't worry, the Torah says anytime you do a mitzvah, you have nothing to worry about. You have the protection of the Torah. The entire Torah protects you. You don't have to worry about this person killing you. You don't have to worry about this person hurting you in any way, shape, or form. In fact, this person is most likely going to come thank you. Abotech be'Hashem chesed yisovevenu. And I'll give you examples. After the lecture, I'll show you a recording. I gave somebody about a year ago, a little over a year ago. People ask me questions. I try my best to answer them. And this young guy was telling me, listen, he's having problems with his family. What they're all rejecting is tshuva. He's doing tshuva. His wife-to-be is doing tshuva. They're all trying to do good things. But his family's rejecting it. He doesn't know what to do. I told him, listen, you stay strong. You make sure she stays strong. And you'll see that time is going to come. Not only they're not going to reject your tshuva, but they're going to ask you for a blessing. Today or yesterday, he said, on Motzei Shabbat or today, he sent me a message, and I'll show you, you can hear it yourself. He says, I want to tell you that what you said a year and a half ago, it happened today. What happened? He said, my family that was against me today, one of my aunts called and talked to my wife. He says, listen, I need to talk to your husband. She goes, why? What happened? He goes, oh, my son is having problems, da 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 da. He goes, okay, what my husband going to do? He's not a guidance counselor. He goes, no, your husband's very holy. I need him to bless us. Your husband's very holy. I need him to bless us. Maybe he'll solve our problems. Again, it's silly, but it's great. Why? Kiddush Hashem. At the end, everybody knows what's true and what's not. At the end, everybody knows. If you stay strong, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bless you countless times. To such an extent as Shlomo HaMelech says, Birtzot Hashem dar ki'ish, gam oivav yeshlim imo. If Hashem is happy with what you're doing, even your enemies will come and say, I'm sorry. To that extent. Your enemies, what do the enemies want to do? Enemies want to kill you. Enemies want to hurt you. Hashem says, if I'm happy with you, I'll even make your enemies come say and apologize to you. To that extent. To that extent. That's how much Hashem runs the world with precision. If you believe in the Torah. But if you're just if you just don't believe in the Torah, you're not going to do a lot of these things. You're going to be scared for your own pocket or your own this, your own that. So again, I'm not saying to go start snitching on every single person that may or may not have done something wrong. You have to obviously have chazakah. You have to make sure that this person is a bad person. It's not possibility. You have to go according to the Torah. There's different things, different procedures you have to follow. But when it comes to the easy part is to, everybody knows which one of their family or friends or community members is keeping or violating the law, meaning the Torah. Everybody knows who keeps Shabbat, who doesn't keep Shabbat. It's not like a secret. People don't hide it anymore. People don't have any shame about it. In the old generation, if you smoked a cigarette as a kid, you'd hide it. You'd smoke behind the house. You'd smoke in like some basement. Why? Because if any of the parents saw you smoke a cigarette, all of a sudden you don't have any friends anymore. Why? You're the smoker. You're the 13-year-old smoker. You're on cherem. Today, kids smoke marijuana with their parents at 12, 13. There's no shame. There's no nothing. It's completely a pathetic, retarded generation. That's what it is. They smoke pot with their parents. I'm telling you. Guy says, oh, why not you start smoking? He goes, oh, my dad gave me. I said, what? Yeah, my dad gave me a joint. I said, Hashem Yerachem. Hashem Yerachem. What a generation we have. So, this is not a generation with shame. There's no shame. Which means that it's easier to know who's a criminal and who's not. So that means that you can help people because you know who's doing wrong and who's not doing wrong. You know who's driving on Shabbat. You know who's breaking Shabbat. You know who's doing all these different things. So you can tell them. You don't want to tell them? Just send them a message with my lecture on it, or Rabbi Mizrahi's lecture, or any lecture that you find that's good chizuk, that's talking about that specific issue that they're violating. and keep doing it. Don't give up. The point is that don't just sit there idly doing nothing. This was, by the way, last thing, this was one of the mistakes, Hashem Yachem, that we've made many times throughout all of the generations. Whether it's the Bet HaMikdash generation, first one, second one, or even the Holocaust. The book, I was Mengel's assistant, where Nicholas Nizili was a helper to Mengele, the Malach HaMavet in the Holocaust. This Jewish guy would, do all of the cutting up all of the bodies and examining them and so on and so forth. All of the horrible things. And one of the things that he talks about is what happened with all of these different camps, these Sonderkommandos, these different shifts of few hundred Jewish men that worked for the Nazis by force, is that out of 14 Sonderkommandos, only one revolted. The other 13 did their work. 4 months later, the Nazis killed them. The other one did their work. 4 months later, the Nazis killed them. Meaning the Nazis would use them until they knew too much, then they killed them. And they would actually use the Jews to destroy the Jews. Meaning they would take the Jews from the camps, from the ghettos, and put them in the actual gas, inside the crematories, burning the bodies. They would use Jews to do this. And nobody revolted. Why? This is also midah keneged midah. You didn't speak up when you saw other people doing wrong. You're not going to have the strength to speak up when you know it's wrong. It's also midah keneged midah. Now, of course, you can't judge them, but it's a reality. Same exact thing happened in the Bet HaMikdash. The Gemara in Masechet Chagigah says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided to destroy the Bet HaMikdash when there was no man rebuking anybody anymore. Anshe emunah avadu. So, rebuking is not a suggestion from the Torah, but simply a commandment that we are failing at miserably, and we need to do something about it. It starts with us. If we start doing it, our rabbis will do it, our community leaders will do it, the board of directors will do it, other people will do it, because everybody can see what's wrong. Everybody knows that there's something wrong. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it's not exactly tip-top shape. There's board of directors of many of these shuls are secular people. They don't even keep Shabbat. How is a bunch of secular people running a religious organization? It doesn't make any sense. The biggest Jewish organizations are funded by Christians. How does that make any sense to anybody? There's a lot of things that are wrong. So everybody knows there's something wrong. So it's time that people do something about it. Yes?
Isn't there a prohibition or something about rebuking someone that you know isn't going to make tshuva because of it?
Only if it's a rabbinical sin. Meaning, if you see somebody that is a nasty person, and you see that he didn't do a bracha. He was about to eat an apple or something, he didn't do a bracha. Or he didn't wash his hands with netilat yadayim. That's a rabbinical mitzvah. If you know that if you say something and he's not going to listen anyway, you don't have to do anything. But if you see him driving on Shabbat, that's a biblical mitzvah. And you're obligated to say something. There's no such thing as not rebuking him. You have to say something. The only time you don't say something is if, again, if he hits you already.